Hi everyone, welcome to Movie Section Show. My name is Fariba, and tonight we have the finale for The Acolyte. Now, of course, there's gonna be this big question of whether or not this show is going to get a second season. I can't even really give you an answer to that, just because of everything that's been going on with the show, like with the review bombing, and I mean, I don't know what the viewership looks like so far for the show. I mean, when it comes to renewals, what really determines a show's continuity is one, whether or not there is an audience for it, so that would be via the viewership numbers, and two, if the actual creative team themselves had always envisioned a continuation, then that will be another factor to it. So if they do leave off with tonight's episode like on a cliffhanger of some sort, then who knows? It might open the doors for a season 2. Now, if you can't recall from last week's episode, it was a penultimate episode, and that one was far more. It was addressing basically the second perspective, like giving us a bit more of the background of what really happened in Brendok. We saw May's perspective, then we saw the Jedi's perspective, and actually got the truth of what really happened that night, why so many of those witches have died, and what were the consequences of it, and what led to the separation between May and Osha. So we got that. You heard my reaction to it. You heard my concerns about it. I know I had addressed very how do you even say it? I was pretty straightforward with my frustrations with that episode, because I said that the one thing I did not want to see is to lose so much of that time. And now we're down to the final episode, and that's, again, we don't know if the show is going to continue or not, so that's a big question mark. And we're about to go into the final episode with so many questions, and again, I don't know if there's just going to be enough time to address everything. I am very concerned about whether this is going to be super rushed, whether we're even going to get a very fulfilling conclusion to this whole saga. I mean, again, we'll see. Again, as I said before, I've expressed my concerns about everything about what has happened so far and the whole execution of it. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, we're just going to have to see how it all ends, how it all concludes. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get right down into the final episode of The Acolyte. Alright, so we're coming straight from episode 6. So, she's wearing the helmet.
Osha.
What in the world is going on? Has she taken the dark side? What in the world is going on? What just happened? What just happened?
She didn't use it. This is the future you saw.
Future?
She can kill with no weapon.
What is that supposed to mean?
But the future isn't fixed.
I'm so confused though. Did he not want her to kill Soul?
You're going where exactly?
And see who gets to her first.
Wait, I'm so confused. So are they now teaming up to stop her from killing Soul?
Brendok. There is a version on this planet. Now
He's
that
still
you
looking for
and
virgins?
Osha are both alive.
And murdering our mother was justified?
Oh boy.
What happened to you?
Why did you lie to her?
That's a
Why
very
did you
good
blame it
question.
on me?
You started the fire. You locked everyone in.
Because the Jedi invaded our home. Because of the four of you.
It was right for us to intervene.
They were both at fault, let's
My
be honest.
biggest regret is you and Osha are not twins.
What is that supposed to mean?
You're not even single.
Like, can he finish his words so we can know shit?
So you're now Jedi.
What is that supposed to mean? Why would you go into the ring? It's like one of the worst ideas. What is that guy doing? Why would he do that? What?
I've heard some disturbing things.
What have you heard?
That you are running a murder investigation without reporting it to the Senate.
I'm keeping this internal for the moment.
System of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
We don't control the
It's
force.
only a matter of time before one of you snaps. And when, not if that happens, who will be strong enough to stop him?
He's not
That's certainly an
wrong.
opinion,
He's
and not one shared
foreshadowing
by the rest of
something.
the Senate.
The majority of my...
Senator's not wrong though.
I have reported your lack of transparency to Chancellor Drellick. Now, what is it you say?
May the force be with
May
you.
the Force be with you.
Like, really? Okay. Like something that's like a rare thing to say? What?
Did I give you the impression that I was a fair person?
I love
Yes,
that
you did.
outfit though.
Made a deal with my sister, and you expected her to uphold
I
it.
love it.
That's fair.
Should be trained. Would you ever consider?
No.
Last chance.
Really wants her to turn to the dark side,
Told
huh?
you. I'm not my sister.
What is that supposed to mean? I'm so confused what his implications are, though. What? Was that Plagueissus? Who was that? As if that's gonna get her to come out.
Are you sure?
What in the world is he doing? What? Well, there goes that memory. Yeah, trauma. All that trauma coming back. Okay. Isn't that where she almost burned her sister by accident? Yeah. She's partially responsible for this, let's be honest. Partially. Why is he not using his force to censor? That's literally what Jedis do.
Thank you for leading me to her.
Oi.
Make a great...
Yay, another fight. My god, if there's one thing that works out great, are these Jedi fights. Or lightsaber fights, but yeah. Oh, oh, what just happened? Base gliding. Force gliding. Oh, shit. Nope. I get some martial arts vibe. I like it. I like it. Oh shit! What the frick? What? In the forest martial arts did he just do? What did he just do? He like used some Tai Chi or something.
Destruction. And I failed.
So I never became a Jedi. And I guess in the end you got what you wanted.
Oh. Harsh.
Soul killed emotions. He's the reason you have them. You didn't
But you're
fail.
also part of the reason to it, too.
He did.
Oh, that was a nice transition. Oh, but let's just see it.
Now you pay for what you've done.
What just happened? Okay, so he did overpower him. But his soul hurt.
Strike him down
Kyber crystal.
in your journey.
I don't know how your mother did it, but it has something to do with the virgins on this planet.
This needs a little bit of
believe she
elaboration,
used the
please.
Force to...
Okay. Yes.
Do you have
I understood all
any
that.
idea what kind?
And you killed her. You killed our mother.
Yes.
No. May, I know she was right there. Let's. Oh. Huh. You got some explaining to do.
Why didn't you tell me?
They would have sent you away. You were too old to train. They never would have let you become a Jedi. So many times. But I couldn't.
Stop talking.
I kept this from you, so you could.
Oh, he's a
I
dead
did
man.
everything. Because I love.
Oh, snap. She's using her force. She's using the dark force. We have seen this shit before. Oh, damn. I never knew that could happen. Oh, she's now definitely in the dark side, huh? Hmm. Oh shit, he's dead. And now she is a dark force user and a Sith. Why is she smiling as if this is the greatest thing ever? What? Did not think that was possible. She is a Sith Lord now.
You.
Oh, okay. So that confirms it. That confirms it. She was his master. That confirms it. Where the heck is Kymir is my question. He just skedaddled.
Climb down there.
You sure?
Oh, now we're gonna know how she survived.
me.
Well, that explains how she survived that fall.
When I fell, I got sucked into this core tunnel.
There you go.
Come this way.
Use the tracker.
Oh, he's still there.
I'm sorry I started that fire.
Okay, accountability. I'll take that.
Let my sister go, and I will train with you.
Are you sure? The Jedi will use me to find you.
You or me.
permanency.
They're allowed. They can do that. They're capable of it. They're gonna pull a Men in Black on her.
Quickly. I can't lose. You were meant to do. I
Become a
won't
Sith
stop you
Lord.
this time.
Sith Lord handshake, y'all.
Born as two. As above sits the stars. And below lies the
16
She'll admit to
years
that, at
ago,
least.
4 Jedi were stationed on the planet Brendok. There, they discovered a rogue Jedi named Sol killed his accomplices to maintain the cover story.
Oh, WTF.
Sorry, my friend.
What a way to do that. Oh.
Speaking on behalf of the High Council, he was found dead on Brendok, at the scene of his original crime.
At
I
least
believe
she
he ended
gave
his
him
own
the
life.
Okay. Gave him the actual funeral.
who?
A pupil of mine. Before he turned to evil.
Chimere. That's even with his name.
Sorry to disturb you, Master. We need to talk.
There's Yoda. Alrighty, that is the finale for the Acolyte, and I will say this: it's not a terrible ending. I don't feel like I'm super frustrated because I think that was what I was really concerned about going into this final episode. Is like, am I just going to get into this finale feeling as though like I'm just gonna be frustrated by the end of it? But I will say I'm not as awfully upset with that ending as I would have imagined. So I guess that's a positive. But even that being said, I think what I will say is that had the execution of the show had been much better, maybe I would have actually resonated more emotionally with everything that transpired here, especially with some of the reveals that we got here. Like, for one thing, something regarding about the fact that Osha and may not actually be sisters per se. But I feel like a lot of the details that we did get here, we kind of already understood is the case. So, I mean, it's a bit confusing. There are definitely some areas where I was a bit confused and the answers did not make a clear-cut sense. But I will say that it just isn't as emotionally resonating as I would have liked it to be. And I think a lot of it is because of the fact that the execution of how they got from point A to point B, it's a little muddled. So I will say I'm not totally satisfied with this whole series. As I said, like, I think from last week's episode, I was showing my frustration with how this was executed. I think at least with this ending, it's not too bad. And it just from the ending of it as well, it does seem as though that there are plans to maybe do a second season, but of course that's a huge question mark because of how people have responded to this series and whether or not, you know, the ending is even going to be enough to redeem a lot of people's perspective. But what I will say is that, you know, I think having seen everything, I will say this is not a bad finale. Again, it does open up the doors for season 2. I will say that seeing any moments with Chimere, I think, is the most intriguing part of this series. I think anytime he showed up, especially after the whole reveal that he is the Jedi, that he is the Sith Lord that everyone was looking for, that he was a master that who was manipulating May, or, you know, trying to get her to finish off these, you know, trying to get her to do all this, you know, this assassinations of all these Jedis. I feel like after getting that reveal, like, he started to become a very interesting character, and I wish we could have seen more of him. Like, I think that's why they probably didn't go so deep into his backstory, because again, it does seem as though that they're holding it off for a second season. And I think the second season is when they're gonna try and go far deep into the whole Sith Lord situation. And as I imagine, like, it looked as though that Osha was going to go into the dark side. Just again, it was foreshadowed 2 episodes ago. We finally see her transform into that dark force user, and now she's gonna be trained to be basically become a Sith Lord. We even got like a whole like tease somewhere right there where there's some weird how do I even say, like, some hidden figures hiding behind the caves, and we don't really know who that is. I would assume that could be who they're applying to be Plagueis's. I know I'm aware of this character of Dark Plagueis's. I don't know too much about him, but I know he or she, whatever this the Sith Lord is, exists, or at least is implied exists. So I don't know if they're gonna play on that a little bit more, or if they're gonna try and do more of that in the second season. We did get to see Yoda. I think we all knew at some point Yoda was gonna show up, and then he showed up at the end. So there you have it. Yoda is here. Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally upset. As I said before, I'm not totally upset. The fact that they even pinned everything on Soul as the reason for it, so they can cover up all the, you know, the bits and pieces and the gaps, so that way they don't get punished by the council, is one thing as well. Like, it's like the ultimate sacrifice that Soul had to make. It does suck that we do lose a character like Soul, but then again, it's like after the whole reveal from last week's episode, it's like everyone's accountable here. That's all we can say. Everyone's accountable. In a way, Osha is the victim because she's the one who had to deal with it all, so you can't really fault her for essentially becoming a Sith Lord, where she's now embodying all these emotions, and now she's showing all this darkness and is meeting all that darkness. So you really can't blame Osha for this. There's just every single party was just what led to this moment, whether it be Soul, whether it be May. I mean, I think it was very clear that the only reasonable people in last week's episode were the mother and Indara. So, and of course they both are dead. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much you can do. Like, everybody has made mistakes in this show. And it all led to this. It is a bit unfortunate to see that this is how Osha and her arc, you know, transpires to be, but at the same time, it feels like it was inevitable at some point, because if she couldn't be accepted as a Jedi, then this was going to be where her path was going to go forward to. And now it looks as though she's going to be trained by Chimere. Again, I would have loved to see a little bit more Chimere in this season, especially after the whole reveal. I just felt like I think the problem I have with the show is just the execution. Like, they really just, like, they had all these interesting pieces and details. It was just a matter of trying to find the consistency in telling that story. And I feel like that's where it just became a bit of a frustrating journey for some of us, especially for me. I feel like for me, that was a bit of a frustration. It's like, I'm trying to give the show a lot of chances to kind of pick up, and there are bits and pieces. There are some really good moments. I will say, like, just this episode alone, just seeing some of the duels that we did get, like the action sequences was actually pretty good. Like, so for some reason, like, Soul is showing a little bit of this Tai Chi thing mixed with the Force and fighting off Chimere in that way. The fact that he was actually able to overcome Chimere, showing how he's a very powerful Jedi. So it's like you can see the contrast of that, which is like pretty cool. And then seeing again the fight between Osha and May, and just that whole contrast. I mean, there are some really good moments. Like, we've had some good moments in this show. I just, the problem is that it wasn't the most cohesive storytelling. It could have been done better. And I think that's where it's just like, I wish a lot of that could have been amended, just because then by the time we did get to the finale, things would have actually worked out great. Again, I just, going into finale, I just didn't feel that emotion, especially like in the moment where you see Osha and May giving their goodbyes. It's like, yeah, this is supposed to be an emotional moment, but I'm just not feeling it, because yeah, they've done so much to try and showcase this tragedy that these twin sisters have dealt with, and what they have gone through, and why they're, and the mistakes along the way that came from certain parties. I just wasn't able to resonate in it. And I think that's just the issue. It's like, I would want to resonate with the story. I just can't get the sense of it. Of course, we do get some little bits and pieces and references of Anakin Skywalker. We got some of that. Again, see Yoda. He's the closest thing that connects to the whole the prequels and the originals trilogy. So there you have it. So I would assume that if we are going to have a second season, again, that's a big if, big if. They will need to somehow address a lot of the issues that did happen in the first season. It's definitely not a perfect show. There was actually far more errors and flaws that a lot of us, especially for me, a lot of us had felt in this whole journey than just anything that would make us feel like, okay, this is actually at least a very decent storytelling. Yeah, we do lose Soul, so but if we are going to be following, if considering the fact that we are seeing this finale right here, and season 2 is far more going to be focused on the situation with Osha and Kymir being trained, and the fact that Vanestra is now going to take up a much bigger role because of the fact that she has a connection with Kymir, I guess that basically confirms that Vanestra was the one who, you know, who basically let him go and even trashed him in a way, because again, he was showing that scar in that episode and it was his master, and the master seems to be Vanestra right there. So yeah, like it seems that that's gonna be the next conflict if there were to be a season 2. Again, big if. We do see Yoda, so does that mean that we're gonna see far more of Yoda in season 2, or is he gonna be a lot more involved? The fact that he is the master by this point, it's like, okay, so he is someone who's a very important figure by this point. Definitely a lot of questions going into a possible season 2. Again, the way that this show ends, it's like it opens the door for season 2, but at the same time, it's like, okay, it is also, if it doesn't get the season 2, that's fine of its own ending right there. But I think, again, I feel like a lot of us, at least with the whole Kymir stuff, a lot of us are very interested in that and would like to get a little bit more context of that. I think that's honestly one of the reasons why, if any of us would want to have a second season, is because of Kymir. I think he is the most interesting character in this series, and it just sucks that we didn't get to see a lot more of him, or at least get a little bit more of the answers about, you know, his story and his origins. Again, we got the bits and pieces. We can kind of fill in the gaps, and now again we filled more in the gaps, but it's just like we would like to know a little bit more of what led to this moment, right? So yeah, again, I don't hate this finale. I think this is a very decent one. I think this is definitely far better than what I've seen some of the past episodes, and I think that for what it tries to serve, it does what it does need to do. I just wish that had this show been far more consistent and far more cohesive and knew what it wanted to do in terms of execution, and it could have been a lot more tighter in the storytelling, then maybe I could have actually felt a little bit more deep in the actual story and felt that. But that's just my issue, is that I just didn't fully feel that effect of it. And I think it's like, I would love to have that. I just didn't get it, you know? Like, for instance, like I feel like The Mandalorian has been probably the best example of a Star Wars series where, you know, I think it was like, what, season 2, right? Season 2 really had me, you know, feeling in the moment. Like I was reactive to like everything that was going on, where it's just like, I'm just kind of like casually watching. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, not bad. All right. So, yeah, again, I hope that, you know, again, the issues that I've been addressing about the Star Wars series, again, it's not just an issue with Star Wars, it's an issue I've been seeing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and their TV shows. Again, they need to stop doing the whole 8-episode crap. That needs to just end already. Like, just, and then I think this was the longest episode, so at least that was a plus. Because I feel like, again, this would have been so rushed if it was under 30 minutes. And I still felt like it was still kind of rushed. But it's not a totally horrible episode. I just wish things could have gone better. And who knows, maybe they'll try to fix a lot of that issue for second season, or maybe for what, you know, for a lot of times when it comes to these series, a lot of times they might have to sacrifice just the beginning of the content to really flesh out the best pieces for the follow-up, which is not always the best way to do it, just because, again, you need that viewership, you need to attain that. You need to attain the attention and attraction from people to continue off with the series. And I know a lot of people probably were already, you know, have already tuned out of this series, like probably midway through. So I don't know how they're gonna try and make up for that, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that they are opening the doors for a second season. There's a lot of ways this show can continue. It's very clear where their stories can go and move forward if there were to be a second season. But yeah, we just have to wait and see. So yeah, I think that's all I can really say about it. Like, I mean, it's been quite a journey when it comes to Acolyte. This was definitely a different adventure just because, again, this is definitely far off in terms of timelines that we are typically, we've typically been aware of. We've been so focused on the Skywalker saga, or at least being in around the timeline of the Skywalker saga, whether it be the prequels, the origins, the sequel. And again, as you see my whole my whole journey with this show, not the most terrible way of saying it. I know there have been some frustrating moments. I just can only hope that if they're gonna continue, that they can fix a lot of the crap that happened. But not a terrible episode. Again, some things that really do work. There were some really good moments. But yeah, that's all I can really say about this series and just the finale here itself. Got some answers. Also got some questions. Got to see a lot more of what happened and how they end off the series. But yeah, let me know your thoughts after now seeing the finale. If you have seen the finale, of course, that's a big if. But if you have seen the finale, what are your thoughts? Do you think that there is a chance that this series will get a second season? And if so, will you continue the show if there were to be one? What are your thoughts about the fact that we do get to see Yoda? Do you think that, was it really necessary? Do you think that it will serve a purpose? Again, if there were to be a second season, will you continue from that point? What are your thoughts knowing the fact that this is what basically ends up happening for Osha, May, and Kymir? Did you expect this to have, become the case for Osha, that she's going to turn to the dark side? Or do you think there's going to be some redeemable factor to her, for her? What do you think this means in terms of this dualship between Kymir and Osha now? What does this mean for May now that her memory is wiped? Like, what are they going to do with her now? Because her memory is all wiped out. What about, Master Venestra? What is going to be her journey moving forward? Who is that hidden figure behind the cave that we saw earlier? Is that Darth Plagueis that we were all suspecting? Or who is it, right? And let me know if you have any other thoughts, concerns, theories, predictions, just anything about the show. What are your thoughts? Even just tell me what you think about some of my reactions having seen some of this whole series right here, and just how do you think this compares to some of the other, Star Wars shows that we've seen. Where would you rank this? I mean, for me, I definitely would not rank it some of my best. Definitely gonna be kind of in the lower side, but maybe you liked it far more than me. And if so, that's not even, everyone has, it's a very subjective opinion, right? So, but yeah, let me know your thoughts having addressed all that. Let me know your thoughts below and make sure to like and subscribe.